Lots to share with you in the business report today. Have you ever contemplated what might be the most valuable invention or innovation ever conceived by a Jamaican? How about we extend that across the region? Now ask yourself, why don't you know the answer? Well, the business report has not yet been able to determine the correct answer either. Today, the spirit of collaboration to ensure that science and technology innovation is seen as imperatives for national and regional development is once again explored as we look to Day 3's panel discussion from the recent forecast series held by the University of Technology, where an esteemed panel including Professor Clive Landis, principal of the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus, described a proven geometry between private enterprise, government, and institutions of science to achieve those goals.
And I have to say, the US went through its low growth phase as well. Universities were not translating their ideas into outputs until the Bayh-Dole Act. The Bayh-Dole Act in 1980 was totally transformational. And it basically allowed a sharing of the intellectual property and, of course, a sharing of the gains, the money that you would actually make from an entrepreneurial idea in those three partners, which is the government, the higher education institution, and the private sector. And it's in that partnership which you see so clearly in all of these business parks which surround universities in the US, Triangle Park in North Carolina or University Park at MIT. It's just created that environment where the three partners can share in that innovation process and in the benefits that arrive from it. So we have plenty of ideas and intellectual leadership in our university, but we're lacking that good tripartite relationship.
And as you know, in any relationship, communication is important, which means any syntax barriers that exist across the triple pillars required for profitable R&D must be addressed, an admission made by Professor John Lindo, Director of Mona Office for Innovation and Research at the UWI Mona.
We have to take some responsibility as universities to engage the private sector and the government. So how do you, for example, the Ministry of Agriculture, since my good friend is here, how do you solve a problem from the concept, from conceptualizing that problem to solving it, that you can engage your partners, that it becomes part of their policy, it becomes part of the bottom line in terms of the private sector. So we have a lot of work to do, legwork, and this legwork cannot be left to bread and butter laboratory scientists like myself, because we're not trained in that paradigm. So we need that mechanism to build those bridges to engage the private sector, to engage governments, and to engage within networks.
For Professor Landis, a public-private scientific partnership need not be complex.
Would it be different for the private sector if they knew that our universities were not just picking their pockets, but that we're looking to share in a potentially profitable enterprise, and that they have a share in any profits? Would it make a difference to the minister if we had something like the Bayh-Dole Act? I want to go back to that. It was so transformational because it just made that arrangement, which is roughly 1/3 to the government, which is funding the public institution, 1/3 to the institution, and 1/3 to the investors. And so you don't think of it as, we're just giving something for nothing. We're investing in an innovation product. Not all of them will succeed, but if one hits big, you will share in it.
However, from the perspective of Dr. Kevin Brown, president of the University of Technology, the government's role in stimulating the emergence of future science and tech entrepreneurs and sectors cannot originate from anywhere else.
Many of us will say, because we've been conditioned to say, well, we must look to the private sector. Well, here's the reality, Minister Green. The private sector will invest in what we call sure shots. The blue skies, the early ideation, the private sector will be hesitant to put their money there. That's the space the government has to occupy. That space where the private sector is not quite sure if they want to put some money there, right? But you as a government will now give our researchers the opportunity to build something, and from there, things evolve. Because all these big ideas start with a small little scientist locked in a lab, and then it becomes something else. But the start is with government funding.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.